Welcome back to Read This Next with Laura and Nicole from the Thunder Bay Public Library. Last week we did our favorite reads and like a roundup of our Goodreads reads.
Yes.
And this week we're going to be doing more of the best of the 2021 books, not determined by us.
That's right. Not just our opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we pulled these mostly from quite a few of them I pulled from Goodreads. And then there's a couple other resources as well. And we tried to do a real mix of genres. So we're going to jump across all sorts of things. So, wait for yours if the first ones aren't grabbing your interest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so hopefully there should be something in here for everyone is the idea.
Oh yeah, I mean, just even looking at the covers, I can tell that they're very different.
They are very different. Yes.
Yeah. And
yeah,
I think
indeed.
you are starting us off today.
I am. I'm starting this off with the new Louise Erdrich. And Nicole was like, "You want to do her, don't you?" And I was like, yes, I do. I feel like I've probably repped her before.
A few times.
A few times? Yeah, okay. And I've probably at those times spoken before about how I took a class where we covered two of her books.
Yes.
Yeah. So I have a long-standing relationship with Louise Erdrich. And she had a new book out in 2021 called The Sentence. So here's the description of the book. Louise Erdrich's latest novel, The Sentence, asks what we owe to the living, the dead, to the reader, and to the book. This could have gone in our books episode from last year. Okay. A small independent bookstore in Minneapolis is haunted from November 2019 to November 2020 by the store's most annoying customer. Flora dies on All Souls Day, but she simply won't leave the store. Tuki, who has landed a job selling books after years of incarceration that she survived by reading with murderous attention, must solve the mystery of this haunting while at the same time trying to understand all that occurs in Minneapolis during a year of grief, astonishment, isolation, and furious reckoning. The Sentence begins on All Souls Day 2019 and ends on All Souls Day 2020. Its mystery and proliferating ghost stories during this 1 year propel a narrative as rich, emotional, and profound as anything Louise Erdrich has written.
Interesting. So ghost story, bit of a mystery, sounds like it takes place during the real world pandemic we're going through.
Mm-hmm. Wickedly funny ghost story, tale of passion, complex marriage, and of a woman's relentless errors.
Interesting. Which woman? The ghost or
the other character? I don't know. But yeah, wickedly funny. Doesn't surprise me. I think sometimes there's a perspective, or not a perspective, but like a stereotype that authors who are winning these big awards, like she's a Pulitzer Prize winning author, National Book Award winning author, there's an expectation that they're going to be more serious or but she is very funny. Louise Erdrich, it's not like laugh a minute. Not gonna lie to you, it's not that kind of funny, but there's parts that are deeply humorous in all of her books,
like real life.
Yeah,
not every moment's gonna be funny.
You know what, it's very true. Very very true.
Yeah. Okay, our next one, I thought we had recommended it before, but Goodreads tells us otherwise. We recommended, the title is The Chosen and the Beautiful by, I believe it's Nevo. I think we looked it up last time. And she wrote I just looked it up. The Empress of Salt and Fortune, which we've wrecked before. I think in our Asian-inspired fantasy episode. Check it out.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, the cover is beautiful. I love it. Okay. Immigrant, socialite, magician. Oh, okay. Jordan Baker grows up in the most rarefied circles of 1920s American society. She has money, education, a killer golf handicap, and invitations to some of the most exclusive parties of the jazz age. She's also queer, Asian, adopted, and treated as an exotic attraction by her peers, while the most important doors remain closed to her. But the world is full of wonders, infernal pacts and dazzling illusions, lost ghosts and elemental mysteries. In all paper is fire, and Jordan can burn the cut paper heart out of a man. She just has to learn how. I'm confused by that part, but
Yeah, I'm not sure if that is like a metaphor.
yeah, in all paper is fire, and Jordan can burn the cut paper heart out of a man. She just has to learn how. I mean, it does say it's got magic, so maybe
It
that's what
does.
it is. And then
Yeah.
it says this is her debut. It says it's her debut novel.
That's what I looked it up. The last one was a novella.
Oh,
So
there we
they're
go.
really being a little pedantic here, but yes.
Yeah.
Debut novel.
Okay. Well, this debut novel, reinvents this classic of the American canon as a coming-of-age story full of magic, mystery, and glittering excess, and introduces a major new literary voice. Oh, and I just realized in the cover she's holding like a fancy cigarette.
Yeah.
I thought it was a bird.
And I have to assume by saying it's reinventing a classic that they're talking about that it's a Great Gatsby retelling.
That would make sense.
It would make sense. She's a golf player, and the character is called, okay, yes, it is, because the character is called Jordan Baker. We got there.
You know, we're really good English majors sometimes.
Got there, okay?
I wouldn't have known any of the characters, but that's like the beautiful, not the main woman, the side woman who's a very good golfer. That's all I would know about her.
Yes. Tall,
Interesting.
handsome, rarefied character.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Very cool.
But throws in some magic. Love it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Our next one is a book that I actually literally finished reading just a couple of days ago. This one is a mystery. It's called The Plot by Hanf Korlitz. Jacob Finch Bonner was once a promising young novelist with a respectably published first book. Today, he's teaching in a third-rate MFA program and struggling to maintain what's left of his self-respect. He hasn't written, let alone published, anything decent in years. When Evan Parker, his most arrogant student, announces he doesn't need Jake's help because the plot of his book in progress is a sure thing, Jake is prepared to dismiss the boast as typical amateur narcissism. Narcissism.
You got it.
Did I? It still sounded wrong. Okay, there we go. But then he hears the plot. Jake returns to the downward trajectory of his own career and braces himself for the supernova publication of Evan Parker's first novel, but it never comes. When he discovers that his former student has died, presumably without ever completing his book, Jake does what any self-respecting writer would do with a story like that, a story that absolutely needs to be told. In a few short years, all of Evan Parker's predictions have come true, but Jake is the author enjoying the wave. He is wealthy, famous, praised and read all over the world. But at the height of his glorious new life, an email arrives, the first salvo in a terrifying anonymous campaign. You are a thief, it says. As Jake struggles to understand his antagonist and hide the truth from his readers and his publishers, he begins to learn more about his late student, and what he discovers both amazes and terrifies him. Who was Evan Parker, and how did he get the idea for his sure thing of a novel? What is the real story behind the plot, and who stole it from whom?
Oh.
A story that's too good not to steal.
Yeah, that sounds very tricky. That last sentence. Very good.
Little trickster there. It's certainly raises a lot of interesting questions about ownership, right? Like who owns story idea? Although I would say this character is being he's not being very what's the word, like honest with himself when he says like, oh, it's just like the basics of the plot, it's my book. And it's like, well, no, you also kept the characters, like you also kept more than just the very most basic bare bones of the plot.
You wrote a fan fiction about it.
And then the other thing that I mean, maybe I've read too many of these types of books, but I did see the twist coming.
Okay.
Yes. And there's a twist. It's one of those. But if you're interested at all in writing and publishing and relationships between writers and their art. I think it's interesting to read, even if you don't, even if the mystery part isn't entirely working for you. Yeah, so that's the plot. I think it's probably going to be made into a movie. It sounds like the kind of thing that would be.
I mean,
It,
and Hollywood has no original ideas. They have to
yeah,
steal.
they do. Also, having said that, what am I saying? It wouldn't be made into a movie. It would be a TV series.
Oh, I hope so.
Because that's how it goes now. But yeah, that's the plot.
Sounds really good. And that's your mystery.
That's
Okay.
my mystery.
Okay, the next one is The Sweetness of Water by Nathan Harris. So it says, in the spirit of the known world and the Underground Railroad, a profound debut about the unlikely bond between two freedmen who are brothers and the Georgia farmer whose alliance will alter their lives and his forever. Okay, here we go. In the waning days of the Civil War, brothers Prentice and Landry, freed by the Emancipation Proclamation, seek refuge on the homestead of George Walker and his wife Isabel. The Walkers, racked by the loss of their only son to the war, hire the brothers to work on their farm, hoping through an unexpected friendship to stanch their grief. I thought it would be staunch, but that's not right. Prentice and Landry, meanwhile, plan to save money for the journey north and a chance to reunite with their mother, who was sold away when they were boys. Parallel to their story runs a forbidden romance between two Confederate soldiers. The young men, recently returned from the war to the town of Old Ox, hold their trysts in the woods, but when their secret is discovered, the resulting chaos, including a murder, unleashes convulsive repercussions on the entire community. In the aftermath of so much turmoil, it is Isabel who emerges as an unlikely leader, proffering a healing vision for the land and for the newly freed citizens of Old Ox. With candor and sympathy, debut novelist Nathan Harris creates an unforgettable cast of characters depicting Georgia in the violent crucible of Reconstruction. Equal parts beauty and terror, as gripping as it is moving, The Sweetness of Water is an epic whose grandeur locates humanity and love amid the most harrowing circumstances. Very cool.
Right?
Also sounds like it's interesting when a novel hits on two injustices, if that makes sense. Usually there's much more of a focus on one or the other, so I'm
Yeah,
curious how it's going to play together.
it sounds very good. Interesting to me, the comparison to the Underground Railroad,
Mhm.
because that book was historical fantasy
Yeah, like it was
rather
more
than,
sci-fi based.
yeah, whereas this is our historical fiction category pick. Don't know, but it sounds very good. I read recently the book Out of Darkness by, I want to say, Ashley Hope Perez, which is a YA novel that has similar themes. And I think this might be a good, a good one to pair with it. So maybe I'll throw that title in as well
Please
on
do.
the show notes.
Yeah, it's always worth checking out our show notes, to be honest, because there's some goodies thrown in there. Saying show note.
Yes. Okay. Next one is from the romance section.
Hmm.
This one is, I picked it and then I realized it was book 3 in a series, but I don't
Oh,
think it actually matters.
okay.
I think it's one of those like you could just pick it up and read it.
The series
It
title kind of
looks,
implies that, yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So the book is called Act Your Age, Eve Brown, and it's the Brown sisters number 3. So I'm assuming you could read about all of them, by Talia Hibbert. Eve Brown, the flightiest Brown sister, crashes into the life of an uptight R&B B&B owner, R&B, uptight B&B owner, and has him falling hard, literally. Eve Brown is a certified hot mess. No matter how hard she strives to do right, her life always goes horribly wrong, so she's given up trying. But when her personal brand of chaos ruins an expensive wedding, someone had to liberate those poor doves. Her parents draw the line. It's time for Eve to grow up and prove herself, even though she's not entirely sure how. Jacob Wayne is in control, always. The bed and breakfast owner's on a mission to dominate the hospitality industry, and he expects nothing less than perfection. So when a purple-haired tornado of a woman turns up out of the blue to interview for his open chef position, he tells her the brutal truth, not a chance in hell. Then she hits him with her car. supposedly by accident.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Now his arm is broken, his B&B is understaffed, and the dangerously unpredictable Eve is fluttering around trying to help. Before long, she's infiltrated his work, his kitchen, and his spare bedroom. Jacob hates everything about it, or rather, he should. Sunny, chaotic Eve is his natural-born nemesis, but the longer these two enemies spend in close quarters, the more their animosity turns into something else. Like Eve, the heat between them is impossible to ignore, and it's melting Jacob's frosty exterior.
Aww. That's cute.
It's cute. It's cute. I mean, I haven't read this one, but the description and the kind of it reminds me a little bit of Jennifer Cruzy, the way her books sound. And I mean, I'm probably just like, that's kind of the tone that they use with all these sort of romantic comedy fun ones. But Jennifer Cruzy was a big name a while back that I truly enjoyed. And this sounds similar enough to that I think I will probably pick it up and give it a go.
It does look good. I'm looking at the cover.
Yeah.
That seems to be the way covers are going nowadays, eh?
They're all illustrated.
Yeah, like a very simplified cartoon.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I like the purple hair. That's pretty cute.
Oh yeah, I love it. And it's got music notes, which is why I think R&B would have made sense as well.
Yes, of course. Yeah. He runs a R&B something.
An R&B B&B.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Okay.
All right. This next one I'm going to guess is sci-fi or cli-fi?
Yes.
Climate change science fiction?
Yeah, thank you for clarifying because not everyone knows what that is.
It sounds I don't know if it's catching on.
I've heard about it for years. Like it's been around as a term for a long time. Yeah, not sure. Some people might grab some people, but not everyone.
Shout out. We have a climate change collection at the library now. So go check that out.
You can find cli-fi. All the cli-fi you could ever want.
All the cli-fi. I'm sorry. Look at my dog right now. He's laying on his back. So that's his head and this is his belly.
Very cute.
He's a goober. Okay, I'll actually read you the title now. So this is Appleseed by Matt Bell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to skip the in the vein of and go right to the description. In 18th century Ohio, two brothers travel into the wooded frontier, planting apple orchards from which they plan to profit in the years to come. As they remake the wilderness in their own image, planning for a future settlement and civilization, the long-held bonds and secrets between the two will be tested, fractured, and broken, and possibly healed. 50 years from now, in the second half of the 21st century, climate change has ravaged the Earth. Having invested early in genetic engineering and food science, one company now owns all the world's resources, but a growing resistance is working to redistribute both land and power. And in a pivotal moment for the future of humanity, one of the company's original founders will return to headquarters, intending to destroy what he helped build. 1,000 years in the future, I'm assuming that's like 3022.
Sure.
Okay. North America is covered by a massive sheet of ice. One lonely sentient being inhabits a tech station on top of the glacier, and in a daring and seemingly impossible quest, sets out to follow a homing beacon across the continent in the hopes of discovering the last remnant of civilization. Hugely ambitious in scope and theme, Appleseed
No kidding.
Yeah, that's a lot. It's the breakout novel from a writer as self-assured as he is audacious, who may well have invented the pulse-pounding novel of ideas. Part speculative epic, part tech thriller, part reinvented fairy tale, Appleseed is an unforgettable meditation on climate change, corporate, civic, and familial responsibility, manifest destiny, and the myths and legends that sustain us all. That is quite the book.
That's so much.
Yeah. There's a lot going on there.
I'm kind of in though.
Yeah.
To be honest. Like I think I might be sold.
It's like it hits up 3 different time periods.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. It sounds actually really good.
it
How many
does.
pages is it? Does it say? It must
Um,
be a brick.
it has
It
to be.
must
Let me
be
look it up.
massive. Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter, but it's probably huge. That would probably be a substantial time investment, but it might be worth it.
It sounds like it'll be worth it.
Yeah.
I have no doubt. But yeah, it sounds really good. Like there's so much going on to it. I really hope. Oh, it's 465 pages. So
Oh,
it's not that bad.
no, not really.
Yeah, it's a novel, but yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds I really hope it delivers. Like I mean, obviously it won an award
Yeah.
from Goodreads, but I hope its payoff is worth it. It's
Yes.
sounds good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Well, so that's another very interesting sounding one to check out.
Mhm.
Okay. The next one is a book called Of Woman and Salt by Gabriella Garcia.
That name sounds familiar.
And yes, I think that we have done, I feel like we've probably done a book from her before, I want to say. And this is, I think maybe it's a debut. Is that, it might be from
It
the
looks like
debut
it.
category. I mean, it's also more than just that. But yes, it's also historical literary fiction, but
Cool.
that was what it was on the list for, was because it was a debut.
Mm.
All right, so in present day Miami, Jeanette is battling addiction. Daughter of Carmen, a Cuban immigrant, she is determined to learn more about her family history from her reticent mother and makes the snap decision to take in the daughter of a neighbor detained by ICE. Carmen, still wrestling with the trauma of displacement, must process her difficult relationship with her own mother while trying to raise a wayward Jeanette. Steadfast in her quest for understanding, Jeanette travels to Cuba to see her grandmother and reckon with secrets from the past destined to erupt. From 19th century cigar factories to present day detention centers, from Cuba to Mexico, Gabriella Garcia's Of Woman and Salt is a kaleidoscopic portrait of betrayals, personal and political, self-inflicted and those done by others, that have shaped the lives of these extraordinary women. A haunting meditation on the choices of mothers, the legacy of the memories they carry, and the tenacity of women who choose to tell their stories despite those who wish to silence them. This is more than a diaspora story. It is a story of America's most tangled, honest human roots.
Wow, that sounds very powerful. I will say, isn't Gabriella Garcia Marquez another author that writes about Cuban
That is
being
a,
Cuban? Like that's the
there
title of the
is,
book?
no, I think you're correct, but I think
Is that a different person?
it's Gabrielle Garcia Marquez is who
Okay.
you're thinking of.
Okay.
That
Very
is
similar
a
storyline. So if you
dude.
like that, if you like his writing, I would check this one out because
He no, it's not really. He writes magic realism.
really, because I was thinking more along the lines like being Cuban is very much about like relationships through generations and like
That's
how
true.
there's the like longing for a home that you no longer live in, like the Miami to Cuba. That's what I remember being Cuban being about, but it's been a while since I've read it.
Oh, that's a different.
Is that a different author?
I think so.
Who is that by?
Being Cuban. I mean, oh, sorry. What's it called again?
I
It's
thought it was called Being Cuban.
yeah. I Are you thinking of Dreaming in Cuban?
Oh, that's probably it. Yeah. Who
Okay,
wrote
that's
that one?
Christina Garcia.
Dang it. Okay, well, if you like dreaming in Cuban,
We got there. We got
whoo,
there.
I've read that one. Go check
Dreaming
this one out.
in Cuban, which is by Christina Garcia.
Yeah, I would check that one out. If you liked that one, check out Of Woman and Salt. Have you read that one?
Um,
Dreaming in Cuban?
you know what is funny? I'm pretty sure that was assigned in a class and I didn't read it.
That's why I read it.
That's we did our English degrees at the same university.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. Yeah, I don't think I read that one.
Well, it's a very similar like plot and discusses like generational
Trauma.
issues. Yeah, trauma and moving to a new country and maintaining culture.
And then you could follow up by watching Encanto, the new Disney movie.
So good. I can't
also
sing the
about
lyrics, but
generational trauma.
yes, I can't sing the lyrics, but I really want to.
But has musical numbers. So to cheer you up at the end.
I will say that one, if you're not a big Disney person, this feels like a movie that was made for adults, not for kids as much.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. My child was not particularly interested.
Right?
But he's not particularly interested unless if there's robots or dinosaurs at any time.
That's fair. Beep boop, as we all know.
Boop. Beep boop, roar. Anything else?
Meh. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on from that mess of recommendations that I had there.
Okay, we'll move on. There's one more. Okay.
All right.
So this one is a YA author, and it's an author. She's done a fair bit, best-selling. It's called The Project by Courtney Summers. She had one just a couple of years ago that was about a podcaster and a mystery. And it looks
Sadie?
like this one is also, Sadie. This one is another sort of thriller suspense
Cover is really cool.
The cover is very good. Lo Denham is used to being on her own. After her parents died in a tragic car accident, her sister Bea joined the elusive community called the Unity Project, leaving Lo to fend for herself. Desperate not to lose the only family she has left, Lo has spent the last 6 years trying to reconnect with Bea, only to be met with radio silence. When Lo's given the perfect opportunity to gain access to Bea's reclusive life, she thinks they're finally going to be reunited. But it's difficult to find someone who doesn't want to be found. And as Lo delves deeper into the project and its charismatic leader, she begins to realize there's more at risk than just her relationship with Bea. Her very life might be in danger. As she uncovers more questions than answers at each turn, everything Lo thought she knew about herself, her sister, and the world is upended. One thing doesn't change, though, and that's what keeps her going. Bea needs her, and Lo will do anything to save her.
Wow.
Suspenseful, pulls no punches story about an aspiring young journalist determined to save her sister no matter the cost.
That sounds really good.
Interesting it doesn't sound very YA-ish to me at all.
No, I guess it's a classic case of that's the age of the character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. Sounds good. You know me, I love a cult.
Oh yeah.
I love a cult story.
Yeah. And throw a bit of mystery in there.
I know.
And what's going on?
As we learned from my year wrap up, apparently I also really love mysteries.
Yeah, suspense. So. Yeah, that one sounds really good. Yeah, not the typical YA that kind of ends up winning, I find. Usually it's like a fantasy YA that'll win. So it's cool that it's I will say, I don't know if you've noticed this. Yeah.
It was one of the nominees on the list.
Oh, nominee, not the winner.
Not the
winner. That makes sense. I was gonna say there's a lot of YA that's coming out lately that's suspense and like murder mystery kind of thing in the vein of like no, I'm not gonna make another recommendation because I haven't read it and I don't know the title of it. Never mind.
You don't want to play a game of like
we could
literary charades where you describe it.
I'm picturing the cover where it's got like scraps of paper and it's got pins on the front. It's like a white cover.
Is this not the good girls running, like the bad girl's guide to running something?
Good Girl's Guide to Murder?
Yeah.
Let me see.
Go.
Let me see. You nailed it!
Yeah!
Wow!
Is there runners on it? Or am I mixing it up with something else?
I don't think there's runners on it. No.
Okay. I'm combining two in my mind, but I still got there.
Yeah, you got there. And that is by Holly Jackson. Good for you. Wow. But yeah, there's a lot of like that genre coming out lately, I'm finding. It's very, very popular. Yeah, that sounds good. These all sounded really good.
I know. And we did, if you take a look at our Goodreads, another reason to visit us on Goodreads, you can see we do go through and mark off as read any books that we've recommended. And if you look at the list of their best of year nominees, we hit like 1 or 2 in almost every category.
We
So
crushed it.
yeah.
So we're
lots
really
of good
good
things.
at recommending.
We got our finger on the pulse of recommending good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say the list of books doesn't say when we read them or read them when we covered them. So it looked like we only read 1 book last year when you looked at our like year in review. I was like, that's all right.
I don't date anything.
No need
so I
to.
accidentally dated one, I guess.
Yeah, just one.
I tried to group them on shelves, like a covered in this year's shelf, but
yeah. Well, there you go. We gave you like a whole bunch of recommendations based off these books too.
Yes.
Even though they were chaotic.
They were pretty chaotic.
Yeah. Are we ready to wrap up?
We're ready to wrap up.
All right. Then I will remind everybody, go check out our blog, tbplofftheshelf.com. Go follow us on Goodreads. Follow us on whatever podcast platform you like. We're also on YouTube at tbpl. And yeah, I think that's everything. We will see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.